Hello again. So last couple of videos we've made some ephemera. The rest I finished off camera, so this is what we've got that we finished with. This is the result. So we've got a little pocket, got some tag, a couple of journaling cards. What I'm going to do, got some gold gilding on that one, which looks cool. I'm going to add some button details to some of these, I think. So, in fact, what I'm going to do, I've got my little jar here that lives on my desk that's just full of pretty bits and pieces and pearls and gems and buttons and stuff. So, I'm going to whiz through these and we're going to stop and stitch every now and then. I have got one here as well that I made that's not got bits of the kit in, but I like it, so I'm going to pop this in as well. So, that's sort of the first tag. That's just an embossed tag with part of a book page, some of the wallpaper, one of the sample stamps, and a little bit of gold gilding on there as well. So, and some French book page in the background and some sari silk. So that's that one. So then we've got a little pocket which I stitched the lace on. I'm going to leave that one, I think. This one I think I'm going to leave. I was considering a button, but actually I've got the little butterfly, although I might just put a couple of little gems on the butterfly there. Let's get my scissors. Okay, I'll just trim that, if you can see. I'm just going to trim this off. And just two little gems there should be enough. So just a tiny little dot of glue. I don't like overly blingy stuff. It's not me really. But just these tiny little details sometimes I think can just make all the difference. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So that one's cute. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. These ones I thought could do with some maybe little details. So I've got some of these in here. I've got some buttons, some flat back pearls. Got more, done a black button. I've got some of these little gem things as well, which are quite sweet. Oh, got a little mini bottle. Some more. Tell you what, let's tip a few out, shall we? Little cream button, some blingy bits, safety pin. No, not feeling much of those. I want some, yes, a little clear button, that's cute. See, that might look quite sweet on maybe a tag. I want some more pink or pastel-y sort of coloured buttons. Or shell buttons. There's a little blue one there. That one could be quite cute. What else have I got? I've got a what's another one? I have a big basket under my desk that's full to the top of buttons, and every now and then I'll grab a handful, use what I want, and the remainder I sort of chuck in here, just so I've always got some on hand. And if I'm doing sort of little embellishing bits and pieces, I chuck them in here, and I just leave this on my desk just because it's just easy to grab rather than digging everything out. Yeah, I think that's probably it for now. So let's chuck these back in. String pearls, I use those in my packaging a lot for when I'm sending orders out. So right, so let's have a little look. I think something on here maybe, but I don't like that one. In fact, I'll just see if I can grab another handful of buttons. Hang on one sec. It's quite under my desk. Hang on. Oh, we've dragged tons of stuff with us. Ah! Right, what else have I dragged out here? Some really old vintagey buttons. off. Oh, we don't need those, but they're cool, aren't they? Like Day of the Dead ones. We don't need any of this. We can pop all this back in, I think. Don't know what that is. Got any others? See, there's some quite sweet little ones there. I'm just going to shove all these to the side then. These, again, they'll end up getting chucked in the pot because this is just kind of what I do. So I definitely think I want a cream one. Or do we want just sort of a little embellishment maybe? A little bit of pearl. Didn't intend for this to take this long. I'm just going to stick that on, I think. Oh, what are you? No, I don't like that. This one. Yeah, let's shove that on there. I should probably use my hot glue gun, but this will be fine. There we go. Just a little finish off for that. Let that dry. This one I definitely want a button. Oh, no, I want a button. That'll look quite cute. So this is what I do when I'm doing my buttons on here. I don't know if you can kind of see. I've got my sewing box there. I have my sewing box out, and I have one of these little sort of rubber pad things, and I have my awl and lots of embroidery floss and thread and stuff. So, or should I stick with just a little bit of ivory yarn, I think, in this case? I have lots of this old nylon sort of repair yarn that I quite like stitching with. I think it's quite nice. So I'm going to cut some of that off. Oops, get off. Yeah, so these are what you can buy to carve out your own stamps, but I find them quite handy for this. So I will put my cardboard on there. Rather than trying to hold the button and pierce with a needle, you'll end up bending your piece of ephemera. So I will hold that still, and with my awl, very carefully minding my fingers, poke straight through into the rubber. So I have my little holes then, and that kind of gives me a bit of a helping hand stitching. So I can hear my iPad beeping away and I don't know why. Use my little threader. An island over and pull. Right. So I'm going to start by going through one of the holes in the back. And I'm just going to hold that end down with my thumb this way and try and find one of the other holes. Oops. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing, can you? Because I'm off. I'm off camera. No, I think we've gone wonky there. Let's try that again. This is what happens when I try and do it so the camera's in shot. Yes, because I've gone straight through. Start again. There. So I think this time I'm going to start with the thread on the outside. Oops. Where's that hole gone? Where's the bottom of my button? Ah, get on. There. caught here. My word, this is because I'm doing it on here. This never normally happens. Oh my goodness me. Right. Start that again. Hold it still. So, beginning to wonder if this is something I should have maybe done off camera, but we'll run with it now. And I can't quite see with the tripod in my face. The little arm thing. Oh, shut up, Siri. Right, so I think we've gone a little bit wonky, but that's all right. I'm running with it. So I'm just going to stitch that on. That was kind of supposed to be a bit more central, but it's fine. It'll do. And we've missed the holes that we made. We'll try again on the next one. It's cool. I've got stitchy threads in the way now. Back through. So once we've done these bits of ephemera, because I've realised I'm over 10 minutes in already, let's go back in the bottom. What I'm going to do then is start on the pages. Can you see? I'm going to start on the pages, and we can go through, do any little bits of stitching we might want to do, any little bits of sort of matting other papers on top, just before we sew the signatures in. It's cute, isn't it? I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can actually see what I'm doing. Do I need a button or something on here, do we think? Little embellishment. Oh, in fact, I think I'm going to leave that one. I think that one's alright. I think I'm quite happy with that. This I made just a little sort of booklet with the wallpaper. I think I did this one on camera, so that's quite sweet just to pop in. This one I definitely want a button on, and I quite like that one actually. Can you see? So let's do the glue trick. So just a little dot of glue, and then where I want it, and I'm just going to hold it there for a second just to let that glue set, and just to help me out with the old stitching on camera sort of thing. Hopefully that's worked. So I'm popping the all through, keeping it in place, and hopefully this is kept. I want them to know it's moved. This will help us when we're sewing. Just have them pre-placed. So again, I'm going to start at the front. The glue hasn't held, but that's all right. Pull, and I'm just going to hold that. So this is what I would normally do, is go to the opposite corner and back through again. So I've gone, I mean, don't copy me, I'm no seamstress, so I've gone the top to the bottom, and then back through. I'm going to go in this one, straight across. Where's the hole? Where's the hole? Where's there is? And I'm going to end up back opposite the first tie, because I'm going to have the tie on the front. Before I snip the thread, get out of the way, just cross it over and fasten it there. So you do have to remember when you're adding buttons, obviously you're adding bulk, and you may need to consider that depending if it's a big chunky journal or not, but sometimes I think that just can make all the difference, just to finish a piece off. This one, I love this one. this effect I've got on these. This is an embossed frame, and I've used this chocolate bronze gilding polish, cosmic shimmer. So yeah, so just you take the little sponge, dip it into the stuff, and then just sort of sweep it very lightly across the top, and I think that's giving a really lovely finish. And I'm not going to do anything else to that one because I love it so much. Same with this one. This is an embossed piece that I rubbed just the gilding polish over the top, and I thought that would be quite cute, maybe for the inside pocket. So I don't think I want to do anything else to that one. This one I think I might, and I might add that just to pick up on some of these bluey green colours. So I think I'm going to do that now because I like it. And just hold that down a second. And I don't think I want to do anything else. The only bit of stitching I did was through the fabric just to hold it in place. This one, I don't know, shall I do something? Shall I not? Maybe a little bit of pearl. Ooh, a little bit of pearl trim. Maybe on that. That seems to be holding. Put that to the side. Yeah, I think I will put a little bit of pearl trim on this. Just there, I think. Just on the embossed bit. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so let's sort the end of that out. This I think I'm quite happy with. We've got a little bit of something on the bottom of that, so I think I'm going to leave that one. That's quite big again. This is one of the ones I'm not sure I'm going to be putting in this journal, but we'll see. This I think could do with something. I mean, this would be stitched on. No. A couple of buttons perhaps. What about, maybe not a pink. That one and that one. Couple of buttons in the corner or the top. They don't really show it there unless I did a white there. And perhaps a couple down here. Too much? Probably too much. So I think I'm just going to do that. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to put a dot of glue, and then in fact, rather than rushing, I'm going to leave them for a second, and I'm going to come back and stitch those. So I'm just going to dot those on like that. And they look quite sweet when they're stitched. In fact, we can do that. We can do that off camera, so that's fine. So this, just a little 60s envelope. These are the sorts of things that I put in a lot of my journal kits. Just they're vintage envelopes rather than antique ones. They've still got really lovely aging and colouring to them and interesting stamps. So this, I thought if I went in this journal, would just go in on the side. But I just put a little bit of polka dot fabric on that strip from my collage kit. The little pieces from the Beautiful Blooms Ephemera kit. So that's that one. And then this I think I did on camera, so I've just stitched to hold that in place and just put a little bit of that pretty fabric through, and I don't think I want to do anything else to you. This one, you see, this is something I feel like it would maybe benefit from a bit of something maybe, or just a little button. Yeah, a little button. Now this one's only 2 holes, so I'm just going to go for this one. Just going to pull that. Still going to do this. I just find this easier. Maybe it's just me because my hands don't work as well. And when I find the holes, I just do that. And where's the other one? You were there. Didn't want to be forcing a big hole through that if it wasn't the right one. Okay, so where were we? This might seem a really convoluted way of doing this, but it's working for me for the minute that way. And I know I'm in the right place. Pick my needle up if my hand wants to operate properly. There. And it's moved, of course it has. Of course it has. Why would it not? There. No. That'll do. The other hole on. Oh, that was harder work than it bloody should have been. Right, back through. Oh, of course you've come out. Bear with. I don't know if you saw any of that actually, but my thread has just come out of my needle. Thread you back on. I quite like sewing, but I'm really not very good at it. I'm all right on the machine. Oh no, I've done it, that's right. What am I doing? Oh my God. What am I doing? Yeah, I quite like sewing. And I'm all right on the machine, but hand sewing, I'm going to blame the stupid hands because I'm not very good at it. Fasten that again. My sister is. She's quite good at sewing. And my mum used to be good at knitting, but she could bloody see now. She needs some new specs. But she used to make us all sorts of bits and pieces. There, like that. That. Oh God, I think I want to put something on there. No, it's horrible. No, 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 no. What even is that? What even is that? But why do I kind of want it on there? No, no. Should we leave this one? No, I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to leave it alone. Not everything can have a button. I think you're all right. No, you're all right. You're fine. These are quite plain, but I'll keep it that way. And then there's the big one that's not going in anyway. So that's cool. Right, so that's our ephemera. Whew. Painful now. Stick my needle back in there. Right, so get rid of my sewing box. And I'm just going to scoop all these back away. And then we'll take a little look at our journal and our pages. What time am I on? 24. So I'll whiz through some of the pages. I'm not going to do it all on camera. I hope you can still hear me. I'm not going to do everything on camera. But just to give you an idea of what I have in mind with the pages. Okay, it's quite full now. So, where did I put the journal? There it is. Right. So, here we have journal. And a bit of fabric. So, ignore that. That was my telephone. So, I'm going to start with the pages. So, this first one is going to be our cover page. And I do kind of want to do something on the inside. I don't like the stark white pages. Now what I have done, I've printed off, obviously I've got the remainders of the scraps that we've got left, but I've printed off sort of miniature versions of these and even miniature versions of the pages from my kit. So let's tear some of these down and see what we've got and see. I don't know what these are going to be like size-wise, but I always tear the end of it. I blame the vinyl on this desk. I think it's a bit too slippy. These are going to be a little bit too wee. Cute though, like. Yeah, they're very much too small. So let's get one of the bigger ones. That might be quite cute to put on the inside. Let's tear one of these down. I also have book pages that I can mat down. We can leave them, we can just pin ephemera to them, but I kind of want to go through with the ephemera, with the pages, and one by one just have a look at what I want to do. If I think that I want some ephemera there, if I don't, I'm not putting the ephemera in yet. I'm just sort of giving myself an idea of what I'm going to do, and then we'll get stitching. We'll stitch in the just make sure I'm still recording. Yeah, we'll stitch in the signature. So we'll see if we can do that before the end of this video, and then I'll do a final flip. So that's them. So I'll get my signature back. See, that could be quite cute. Just to map that into that page. I think we'll do that. I think I'll do that. Like that. Yeah, okay. So I will just put some glue. Oh, I'm being brave, I've not got my mat. Just going to put some glue on the edge of this page. A quick one of those over the top, and I'm going to smush it because I don't want any lines. I don't want it to look too obvious that we've just matted this to the page. But super sticky fingers now. Just get my this. Okay, and then at the bottom, if it wasn't upside down, I would even consider just leaving that, but it is upside down, so I'm just going to tear off. That. So then we'll put this back in. We have a nice interesting page, 12.2. Now then I have this page. In fact, I might even just do the other half while I'm here, or I might do something with that. Let me have a think. I have some nice book pages or pieces of this that I quite like. It could look quite cool. That way. I like this on it. I like the staples. I don't need to go right to the very, very edge because obviously a lot of the spine's going to take this up, but I'm going to stick this one down while I'm going. This seems to be setting so quickly, this 3 in 1 because I think it's because it's cold in here. It's meant to snow this week. Ugh, don't want that. Don't get me wrong, I love the winter and I love autumn, but I don't love walking in it. I don't like being cold. Okay, so let's do it there, because I think that the majority of this is going to be hidden by the spine because it's going to be quite chunky. And I quite like that. And I'm going to use my tearing ruler on this so as not to give me too neat an edge. There we are. Now these little bits I'd keep, but the others I won't. Okay, so now when we go into our signature, that, and when we get to the back page, that I like. So the next page is this. Now this is going to be filled with ephemera, so you won't really see that. So I'm not too concerned about matting the insides. What I am going to do off screen is stitch these closed and just run a cream stitch up and along. Quite happy with those, happy with that. This one wants backing. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Now I kept a long piece, which was the bottom here of this, the cabinet card one, and I like that. So I think I'm going to use that. So let's just budge that out the side. Same again, I'm going to glue this rather than estimating on the scrap that I'm using. I'm not going to bother trying using my fingers because it obviously doesn't work. And I'm going to do it this way this time. So let's tear that down and tear that down. And then we've still got some nice little usable pieces there. Hope you can see all right, it's not getting a bit dark. Now, I'm going to kind of bend it because this journal isn't super neat. Nothing is sort of bent and creased, it's just sort of wrapped around. So I want to stick with that. So now when I come to it, what are we on 33? We'll just do another one maybe. So that's getting matted. That's the sticky page that I'm quite cool with leaving. That's the book page. That's the French book page. That's now nice and covered. I like that. We've got the little miniature collage pages. Something could go on there. I wonder if that envelope would work on there. Where's my envelope? I wonder if I could mat that there and have it as a, what would that look like? Because it's going to stick out the top of the journal, of course. Anything that you're going to put in that's going to protrude, you probably want to just check that you're happy with the cover. You see, it does pop out a little bit, which makes me maybe want to do something to the top. I don't mind it sticking out, but I do think I need to do something to the back of it. So let's do that with the pages so we know where we're at. And let's think of something to do with this, because the usable part of it is going to be the pocket. That's what we're doing. So it doesn't matter if we cover this back with something. So we could, just grabbing this scrap of wallpaper, we could sort of do that and have it as a bit of a, we can have it as a little tuck spot. Now we'd have to glue, because obviously if we were to stitch, we'd be stitching that closed. But we could have that as a little tuck spot, and then that would look quite cute poking out the top, I think. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Let's do that. So we'll just do here, here. Sorry, I went wonky then because I was looking to see if I was on camera. And here. So this is kind of my process when I'm putting journals together, rightly or wrongly, or, you know, it probably seems really chaotic to you, but it's kind of what my method of working my way through. See then, a little tag spot. Quite happy with that. Look at me getting carried away. No, stop it, Donna. Right, let's leave that. And then, what am I on about? Tuck spot. How's that going to be a tuck spot? Idiot. Sticking it down. Oh, unless I put it in as a... Oh, look at me now getting so carried away. How silly. Yeah, what a brilliant method this is that I've got, eh? What do we think? Shall I tip it in? Now I feel like I want to tip it in, but how am I going to tip it in? How will I tip you in? Probably with a bit of fabric. I could probably just use a bit of... No, forget it. I might as well salvage some of this. It was a good idea while it lasted. And we'll just stick it down. Silly. Oh, I'll tell you the one thing I was going to say, though. I could do with a strip of something at the edge just to hide that. Super quick before it dries. Boom, boom, boom. What do we want? Just have some of that. Just shove that on. Super fast. And then a bit more of you. Right. You can see that. And then... Oh, get off. Oh, we're making a right pig's ear of it now, aren't we? There. Done. That's all right. Okay, that's all right. We can deal with that. Except for that little bit there that I can't deal with. Can you see that? Okay, don't actually know what we got up to. Don't know which bit's which. You're the centre. You went there. Stress. Right, I'm going to end this video now. So, shambolic. Probably won't publish this one, but I'm going to carry on anyway. So they're matting pages. Going to stitch those. Happy with those. That's the book page. That's the French page. We've matted the back of that, so it's much prettier. And then we can probably just add a little, you know, we'd clip something to it, or, you know, they look quite cute. That's the handmade paper, and that's the shambolic one we've just done that is actually now a cute little pocket. Let's end it there. I'm going to end this one. I quite like the look of that at the top now, actually. Quite pleased with that. So I'm going to end this video. I'm going to carry on what I was doing, and if I've got time today, I'm going to film stitching in the signature. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Made a mess of the stitching, the buttons, made a mess of gluing that, made a tuck spot that wasn't going to exist. Successful video. Just goes to show it's never perfect, is it? Never perfect. Right. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe. Bye.